Hello, and welcome to Merrimack Valley Visions. I'm your host, Robin Ellington, with another show about your ideas and your innovations for the Valley. People in and around North Andover have a vision to make this a better place to live, work, and play. And maybe that will challenge you to get involved. I'm here today with Glenn Aspasley, president of Friends of North Andover Trails. Welcome, Glenn, to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
I'm glad you're here too, because we want to know what Friends of North Andover Trails does. Tell me a story about who the Friends are.
Friends of North Andover Trails is a group that I found when I first moved to town a couple of years ago. I went looking for trail maps. So I love the outdoors, and I wanted to find out where I could go in North Andover. So I found the Friends of North Andover Trails website, went to one of their meetings, and before I knew it, I was president.
Just add water.
Yeah, it's a great group. It's a all volunteer group.
How many of them are you?
At the end of the year, we had 30 supporting members, which is pretty exciting.
That is.
We've grown a lot in the past couple of years. The group does a lot of different things. We do anything having to do with volunteering for trails. So we have our most important mission is trail maintenance, and we have an agreement with the conservation department to maintain all the town trails. So any trail that is on town property, we run monthly trail work days, go to the trails, make sure the trails are open. We have a brush mower that we use, tools, chainsaws, and we keep the trails open. And if a tree were to fall down, or if sometimes they grow up so they're impassable, and we'll mow it.
So how soon after the snow melts do you get your mucklucks on?
Well, we're going to start having trail work days probably in April. The trails, they start out really muddy, so it's not the best time to go out on trails in April, but there are some cool things to do.
And many of us do.
Right, and if there's trees that fall down in the winter, those will be the first things on our list.
So do you have a chainsaw too?
Yeah, we have a group chainsaw that we use, and a lot of our volunteers have chainsaws too. The group also does, we maintain the Bay Circuit Trail going through North Andover. For those that aren't familiar, the Bay Circuit Trail is a long-distance trail that runs through Massachusetts, all the way from the South Shore, Duxbury, and Kingston, all the way up to Plum Island. Is
that on the railroad beds?
Sometimes it is. Yeah, it runs through about 31 communities, I think, and North Andover's portion runs up through Harold Parker and up past Sharpness Pond Road area and up into Boxford State Forest. And
so are they all connected?
Yep, it's all one big trail. It's almost completely connected. There are still some holes in it, and we are in charge of maintaining North Andover's portion of that.
And how many miles of trails is that?
North Andover's portion?
Yes.
A couple miles of trail. Altogether, North Andover actually has a lot of trails, because there are a lot of different open spaces and a lot of different open space management. So for example, we have huge portions of 2 state forests. Harold Parker State Forest is about half in North Andover and half in Andover. And that is over 1,000 acres, and there's actually about 50 miles of trail in Harold Parker.
Wow.
It's about 20-something in North Andover.
Who maintains those trails?
DCR, the Department of Conservation and Recreation, is in charge of the state forests. There are just a few rangers. There's fewer in the winter. There's a few rangers that are in charge of that. And we also have Boxford State Forest, which is on the Boxford border, and that's about 1/3 in North Andover.
Oh, I didn't know that.
A lot of people don't realize that about 120 acres or more, I think. A couple hundred acres of Boxford State Forest is actually in North Andover.
Oh, thank you, Boxford. That's wonderful.
So when you head up Sharpness Pond Road, there at the end of Sharpness Pond Road, the trails go in there, and there's a huge chunk of woods before you cross the Boxford border.
Okay.
And we also have the trustees of reservations. We're very lucky to have Wire Hill and Ward Reservation, which is also half in North Andover and half in Andover. Ward Reservation is about 700 acres now.
Where is that located?
Ward is, you familiar with Boston Hill?
Yes, I just snapped too. I know exactly where it is now.
Great. So the main entrance to Ward Reservation is in Andover at the end of Prospect Road off of, so you take 125 down towards Andover, and your first left is Prospect Road there.
Okay.
And the parking area is at the end. So a lot of people associate Ward Reservation with Andover, but it's actually half in North Andover, and we now have access from North Andover as of 2013. The new Brightview
yes.
center there,
yes.
at the where the
assisted
former
living
the
place.
assisted living area,
Yes.
where the ski area was. The Brightview people were nice enough to give dedicated parking for trail access. You'll see a kiosk now there.
Oh.
And there's new trails heading up Boston Hill. And this is a project that the New England Mountain Bike Association did with Friends of North Andover Trails and the trustees of reservations.
That's a best-kept secret. I had no idea that went on.
It's brand new. We hope to have kind of like a
Wow.
grand opening thing in June. But if you go in there now, you'll see, once you get up on the hill, there's hundreds of feet of beautiful boardwalks up the former ski area. So it's quite a hike. I mean, you're heading straight up the ski area hill, and then it's basically North Andover's new entrance to Ward Reservation, which is 700 acres of unbelievably beautiful woods there.
Okay. Were you always an outdoorsman? What led you to this Friends of North Andover Trails?
I guess you could say that. Yeah, I've always, spent a lot of my time outdoors, on trails, mountain biking and hiking, and so one of the reasons that actually attracted me to this area was the proximity to Harold Parker State Forest, and
So you're a transplant?
I grew up in Groton.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
we
not
have-
that far.
Yeah, we didn't stray far from the
No,
west.
no. Groton is another wonderfully outdoorsy place. So how did you become involved with Friends? How did you know where to go, whom to contact to become involved?
It was a little tricky to track them down. It wasn't
It's a
clear.
virtual group?
They meet monthly. And when I joined, it wasn't as organized as it was now, I guess you could say. Now our meetings are, if you want to get involved, you would go to our monthly meetings. The best way to get in touch with us.
So when and where are they held?
You can always find out the latest meeting date at our website, which is fonat.org. They're usually on the fourth Wednesday of the month. We meet down at the Stevens Coolidge Place meeting room.
Oh, nice.
It's the trustees are nice enough to let us use their meeting room, which is over in that red brick duplex building, sort of to the right of the main Stevens
Okay.
Coolidge Place.
Mm-hmm.
And in our meetings, the last meeting we had 12 people around the table, so we've almost outgrown that meeting room. And we talk about our upcoming events for the year and our general business and anything anyone wants to bring on the agenda.
Who pays for your chainsaws?
We are a completely donation-based group. So money could come from our annual dues, which is just $10 a year for an individual membership. Could come from other donations from our members. And we've also will apply for grants and other funding like that.
Do you have people who do grant writing for you on the committee?
Yeah. Most recently, we've applied for some grants for projects for this year. We don't know whether we're going to get them yet. But an example would be some of our tools came from funding that was available through the Base Circuit Alliance, which is the organization that runs the Base Circuit Trail.
So you piggybacked onto what they were
So
doing.
we don't
That's
have
great.
any one major source of funding, but primarily all donation based.
Do you do fundraising events?
We don't do any events that are specifically geared towards fundraising at this point. It's something we may do in the future. a lot of our events are geared towards finding new volunteers and new members of the group, but nothing specifically, you know.
Well,
for
we'll do what we
fundraising.
can to help you to find new members, that's for sure. So you said you have a website. Could you repeat your website once more, please?
Yeah, the group is Friends of North Andover Trails. The acronym is FONAT. So it's FONAT.org.
I see, okay.
On FONAT.org, you'll find trail maps, which is my personal project in the group. I've been generating maps.
This is one of the things that you've done here?
Yeah, this is our little promotional brochure. You'll find this at the library, the town hall, you know, around town. And the cool part about this brochure is it's also a town-wide trail map.
Wonderful.
So we've got on here 16 different places where you can go walking or hiking in town, including all the trustees' properties, the town properties, the state forests, all on there with little tiny descriptions.
Wonderful.
If you go on the website, we have detail maps of almost all the properties there where you can see where the trails actually go.
Okay. So you have some special events coming up, you were telling me earlier.
Yes. Last year we did a few guided hikes, which were actually inspired by, I found some old trail committee brochures from the 90s, and I said, hey, they used to do guided hikes, let's do guided hikes. So we did a few last year, they were really successful, and this year we plan on doing monthly hikes, and they typically be on a Sunday, and we have the next few planned out. Do you want me to tell you about what we have planned for that?
Is it a secret?
No, I can give you the information.
Okay.
We've got, let's see, this coming March 11th, we're doing a hike at Oxford State Forest. We have an April hike planned. I'm really excited about this. April 27th, which is the last Sunday in April, we're doing a vernal pool exploration over on the Boxford side of town. We have one of our local naturalists, Chris Bow, will be taking us to a vernal pool, and you know, we'll see what kind of life is, you know, sort of waking up in April.
Is there a limit to the number of people who can go on these hikes?
Not really. I mean, we've had anywhere between a dozen when it's really cold and maybe about 40 to 50 people on our more popular hikes.
Okay, and so Chris Bow can manage 50 people?
Well, you know, we might have to wait in line.
Okay.
I mean, it's still, I mean, it really all based on the weather. I don't think we'll get 50 in April, but we'll see. And then in May, we have May 11th, which is also a Sunday, maybe Mother's Day. We're doing a migratory bird hike, and that will be at Mazarenko Farm, which is the open space up on Bradford Street.
Yes.
This is going to be co-led by a member of the Merrimack Valley Bird Club, so we're really excited about that too.
There are volunteer opportunities then with the Friends of North Andover Trails. Would that be part of the responsibility, be going on these hikes and helping marshal the group along?
Yeah, we're always looking for hike leaders and co-leaders. You know, we like to have someone in the back to make sure we don't lose anyone on the hike. And there's so many volunteer opportunities in our group. We're always looking for people to help us maintain the trail. So when we have a trail work day, you know, we need people to come out and help us with the trails. We also build boardwalks and bridges and make new trails, and we always need people for that. We need people, like you said, to lead hikes, go to events, and man tables, you know, informational tables.
Right. I met you the first time at the sheep shearing festival. So you have a table at that event every year?
We're going to try and do sheep shearing. We had a lot of fun at National Night Out. Met a lot of people that way. And one of the great things about those events and also the hikes is, you know, we do find people who are interested, keep in touch with them, and a lot of them become members and volunteers.
So I understand you brought some photos with you today.
I did.
So maybe we could cue a couple of those photos.
This is a shot of Mazarenko Farm, probably shortly after it was mowed. The town has a lot of fields that are hayed, and they're beautiful year-round. But just after they're mowed, or actually while they're being mowed, is a great time to visit them, because you just get to see these beautiful scenic vistas.
Yeah, that is beautiful.
Harry said to just wave your hand when you want to change.
And this fine old tree?
This is an oak tree that you can find on the Ridge Trail at Mazarenko Farm. Not sure if it's alive or not. It looks a little sketchy, but it's called a pasture oak.
Okay.
Because as you can see, the branches are going out horizontally, which means that this tree was around when the hill was cleared. It was just growing in the middle of a pasture, so it didn't have to go up to the top of the forest canopy. It was clearly just kind of like in the middle of a field for its entire life, which is why you get that nice
So now the forest has grown up around
branch structure. Yeah, so I thought that was neat. This is a nice shot of a trail at Osgood Hill. I love Osgood Hill because it's just it's so easy to access right on Osgood Street. I mean, it's right across the street from us, and but you feel like you're just in another world.
The quiet.
Oh, and here's some volunteers working. This is a project that we did this year. We extended an existing boardwalk, and this is right as you go in to the trail at the bottom of Osgood Hill, right across from Prescott Street. There's a little trail kiosk there, and it's probably getting soggy and wet right about now. You can see when we were working on it, it wasn't wet at all, but we extended it about 100 feet longer than it already was.
Okay.
And
I know this one. I've been here.
Here's the top of Osgood Hill looking out over the lake.
Yes.
And Half Mile Hill there in the is that grassy area. Half Mile Hill is a lot of people don't realize is actually town-owned property as of about a dozen years ago, and you can access that from the bottom of the hill, either on the Edgewood side or on the Osgood Hill side. And here's just a picture of some beaver activity over at Ray's Pond. To get there, you can start over at Mazarenko Farm on Bradford Street, or you can access this directly from the Ray's Pond area on Great Pond Road. Here's some volunteers stopping for a photo down at the Shawsheen River. We maintain a trail along the Shawsheen that starts at the end of Green Street and goes along the river. Oh, there's Tom unpacking the brush mower from the trailer. We have this wonderful piece of equipment at our disposal, which lets us make short work of trails that grew up in the summer. And here's just one of our trail signs. When you see one of these little metal discs, that's Friends of North Andover Trails marking out the trail for you. And there can be all different colors: red, green, blue, orange.
Any significance attached to the colors?
A lot of the colors correspond to our trail maps. So at a place with a lot of trails like Mazarenko or Osgood Hill, you'll see trails marked on our map in a certain color, and we use that same color for the badges. It's not perfect across the board, coordinating colors, but it's at certain properties it's useful. This is an example of a trail that we need the mower for. This is a Mazarenko
This is the
Farm.
before picture?
Yeah, this trail runs along Bradford Street, and it was kind of a reroute that had to be done a few years ago when the original trail was flooded out by beaver activity. So this goes through a little bit of a lowland. You can see some Joe Pye weed and cattails growing up in this low area, and they're just pruning it back. Here's one of our guided hikes from last year. This was a lot of fun over at Boxford State Forest. We teamed up with the Historical Society and did what we call a history hike. We got this idea from Andover. So we went to the, rather than going way back in history, we had the idea to do more recent history. We did the history of the anti-ballistic missile site out in Boxford State Forest.
The Nike.
Yeah, so this was the 1960s, which is, you know, ancient history for a lot of young people. And we had a lot of fun taking everyone through the excavations and the history of what was there.
Wow.
This is a scene from Harold Parker State Forest. Harold Parker actually has 11 ponds, most of them actually man-made in the 1930s during the Civilian Conservation Corps. And this is, I'm going to say this is Field Pond.
Okay.
This is Foster Farm over off of Boxford Street. People probably know it from the soccer fields that are there off of Boxford Street. But if you're at the soccer fields, you'll see a trail kiosk, and the trail heads out across the field. And this is town-owned conservation land. Here is the group working on a project with Essex County Greenbelt Association, which is another local land trust. Like
they're over in Topsfield, right?
I think their main office is actually in Essex.
In Essex.
And they own a couple hundred acres of conservation land in North Andover, one of them being Farnsworth Reservation off of South Bradford Street. It's little known because no one ever drives down South Bradford Street.
I live there, and I don't know where this is. Tell me.
So it's a little confusing. There's two sections of South Bradford Street.
Oh, it's the other section. Yes.
So this is, if you wanted to get there, you'd have to go from Salem to Blue Ridge Road.
Yes, yes.
To the mysterious part of South Bradford Street.
Yes.
And you'll see a sign you'll see a Greenbelt sign, and there are a couple miles of trails in there.
Wow.
And we're grading a new trail that we worked with Greenbelt to install last year, that opens up access to some pre-existing trails that you couldn't really get to.
Wow.
So if you haven't been to Farnsworth lately, there's like a mile and a half of trail that you couldn't get to before.
Super, thanks.
This is a view from the top of Carter Hill.
I recognize that tower in the background.
Yeah, this is a beautiful place to go because
this is on Bradford Street.
You can look down and see a working farm. Yeah, this is Bradford Street, and Carter Hill was acquired by the town, I think, in 2001, and you can just park at the bottom and head right up.
And they're sledding on it right now.
That's a great place to sled, and a great place to. Of course, they let it grow up, so when they mow it on July, here's it being hayed. Once they clear it in July or August, you can head right up and you can connect into the Mazarenko farm trails that way.
Wow.
This is another hike that we did. This was, I think, in October or November. We did a Bay Circuit trail hike. It was led by one of our members, Al French of Andover, who was one of the primary people in the Bay Circuit Alliance, and he took us through the part of the Bay Circuit Trail in North Andover and Andover, and you can see in this picture he's talking about the blazes. If you look at if you see that little white rectangle on the oak tree,
yes,
that's a Bay Circuit Trail blaze. And once you notice it, you'll see them all around. You'll see them in Harold Parker. You'll see them in Ward. You'll see them at the near the Recycle Center, Boxford State Forest. You'll see these things everywhere once you're looking for them, all throughout Boxford and Andover. And these things will take you, like I said, all the way from Plum Island all the way to Duxbury.
Wow. Wow.
And here's us setting up for National Night Out. We had a lot of fun that day. We gave away balloons and showed off our stuff.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. That was a great tour, and it's nice knowing what we have, so that we can take more advantage of it and go for a walk. So some of the trails I know go on private property. I know, for example, when I go on Weir Hill, I'm sometimes walking across a corner of Edgewood assisted living facility. So what actually goes into gaining permission to make that possible?
It just all has to do with what the landowner has allowed. I mean, as you know, Weir Hill is open completely to the public. All the trustees' properties are completely open to hikers, but the Edgewood property is it has a conservation restriction on it, meaning that They can't develop it. They can't do anything to it. They can't even, add a new trail or anything to that. The whole part of Edgewood that's on the watershed side.
Okay.
But that does not actually allow public access. It's something that may change in the future, but as of this point, you're technically not supposed to go from Ware Hill across through Edgewood. I mean, those trails are, yeah. So if you look on our maps, you'll see it marked as private.
Mm-hmm. Are any of the properties within the trail pattern a result of people donating land to the purpose?
You mean yeah, I mean, well, the open space in North Andover came from a lot of different sources.
Mm-hmm.
Going all the way back to the state forests in the beginning of the century, that was actually the state buying land for $5 an acre. No one wanted the land. It was just cut over wasteland. So they acquired hundreds and hundreds of acres for the state forests, and that was really the beginning. And a lot of it was kind of donation, like, that wasn't really even much money back then.
Right.
And a lot of the trustees' properties were donations, and the Greenbelt properties were typically donated to Greenbelt. The town properties are typically just regular land acquisitions. It could be funded by various town funds. A lot of the most recent town acquisitions were funded by the Community Preservation Act. For example, Carter Hill, Half Mile Hill, some new acquisitions that have been up on Osgood Hill in the past couple of years. They've all been funded by community preservation. I don't even want to think about if we didn't have that, how much land we would have lost to developments.
Right. So you have a meeting coming up of the Friends of North Andover Trails, the fourth Wednesday of the month. So in March, that will be...
I want to say March 26th.
March 26th.
At 6 p.m. at the Stevens Coolidge Place meeting room.
Okay.
And the latest information, like I said, is always on the website. New members are always invited to attend the meetings.
FONAT.org.
Yeah.
And you are the president, and is there a vice president, a secretary, a treasurer? How is the committee set up?
We don't have a vice president right now.
So you're looking for a vice president?
We're looking for a vice president.
Okay.
We're always, like I said, always looking for trail workers, hike leaders, someone to work. Right now, the website is a me production, and so are the maps, and we're always looking for someone that has the tech angle as well.
Okay. So there's a lot of work to be done in the town of North Andover on the trails. The Friends of North Andover Trails has joined us this week with their vision of the valley. Thank you, Glenn, for coming on the show. We've really appreciated hearing more about it.
It's a lot of fun.
Thank you. And thank you, television audience, for joining me this week on Merrimack Valley Visions, a show about ideas, innovations, and improvements for the valley. If you have a vision to make this a better place to live, work, and play, I'd like to talk to you. Call me about your ideas at 978-337-6826 or email me, rdeink@verizon.net. Then come on the show and share your vision for the valley. Thank you for watching. I'm your host, Robin Ellington, and I'll see you next time on Merrimack Valley Visions.